Well, hello, folks out there in YouTube land. Got a big show lined up for you. Let's get right on into it. All right, let's pull up this screen here. Who will break out in 2023? That's a very interesting question. I think a lot of people are wanting to know who's really going to break out, especially amongst the recruits, because we've had a great recruiting class. I couldn't be more pleased with it. And there's several of those players in that class that I think are going to break out and by at least mid-season really start showing out. And they're going to show us not only that they're going to be really good players, but I think some of them are going to be great players. We're going to talk about that. I'm also going to talk about the transfer portal guys who I think are going to play well out of that group. So let's get into this. All right, now the player that I think has the best chance of not only getting playing time but starting to flash right away would be David Hobbs. This guy, he's about 275 pounds already. He's got 9 months to continue to train and to learn this system. And I think David Hobbs is going to be a special player for the Vols. He is probably my number one because let's remember Rodney Garner uses about 10 plus guys on his defensive line, and it's going to be hard to keep this guy out of the lineup. And I think he's going to flash early on and show us that he's going to be a really good SEC player. Now, he's not going to be, dominant his first year, but long term, I could see him being a force in the middle of that defensive line because I think he's going to move to that. They've kind of got him listed as an edge rusher, but at 275, I don't see that. I think he's just going to be one of those powerful guys in the middle that pushes the offensive line back into the quarterback, which quarterbacks hate that. They absolutely hate getting pressure from the middle. That just bothers them to no end. So David Hobbs is my first choice as far as a player that I think is going to flash in 2023. Now, the next player that I think is going to get into the game pretty quickly and probably show quite a bit of skill is going to be Jordan Matthews. He's a big-time four-star cornerback that we really need. That's another reason why I have him so high on this list, because I think opportunity is there for him. And I think he's going to grab it by the horns and take charge of it, and I can see him flashing some real skill in his first year. And again, he'll need some time, but I can see this guy becoming a very good player for us long term. Now, the next player up on this list is going to be Cam Seldon. Now, this guy could be a special ball player. He's got crazy speed, size, and strength, and I think he's going to be a nightmare for defenses to try to defend because he's going to come at them several different ways. And I think Josh Heupel is going to really enjoy trying to figure out the best places to put this guy on the field. He's too fast and too dynamic not to get on the field early. It's really just a matter of the work that he puts in because Heupel could line him up in the backfield. He could run with him. He could put him out in the flat. He could use him as a wide receiver. He can use him in the slot. He could almost use him as a tight end. He's not quite big enough for that, but he's going to wind up on a linebacker, and he runs a 4.3 40. I just don't see it. And if they put a safety on him, not only is he faster than the safety, but he's going to be stronger. So I really think Cam Seldon's going to be a real problem for defenses to deal with. So he's probably third on my list as far as somebody that could definitely break out in 2023. And don't worry, we're going to talk about Nico. Don't anybody panic. And now my next guy is Nathan Leacock. This is a guy that I've been covering really from day one, and I remember they stupidly had him as a 3-star, which was ridiculous. You watch this guy's video clips and his highlights, and it's pretty clear what he's going to become. He's got great speed, 4.4 40. He's tall. He's 6'3". He's got high-end speed as well. So I think he's going to be a very difficult matchup as a wide receiver, and he's going to be really good on the 50-50 balls. He's kind of a Cedric Tillman with a little bit more speed. So I could see this guy getting on the field pretty early in 2023, and I think he will flash as well. Now, the next guy on this list is Arian Carter. Now, I think given the fact that Jeremy Banks is not going to be here next year, is going to give him an opportunity to play. I don't know how early he'll get into the season, but I definitely see this guy playing next year. The reasons being, first of all, he's a tackling machine, and that's all great and good. But he's also really fast, and he picks up on things pretty quickly. So I could see him becoming a very important part over time to this team. I understand he'll just be a freshman next year, but he's going to see that field. And I think we're going to see some real potential with this guy because he does have that speed. He's going to be able to go sideline to sideline, and that's so important with a linebacker nowadays because they've got to cover running backs and tight ends, and they've got to be pretty darn fast. This guy, again, being a running back, has the speed necessary to stay with these guys. So I can see him seeing the field pretty early on, and really showing that, he's going to become an important part of our linebacking crew. And the sixth guy on this list is Ethan Davis. This is a very high 4-star. He did have an injury last year, so he didn't get to play most of the season, but it was not a type of injury that's going to slow him down this year at all. It wasn't a knee injury or anything like that. Now, this guy's got great hands. He's tall. He's big. I think he's big enough to start as a freshman or at least get in the games as a freshman. And we're going to have need for a tight end because, yes, we do have a transfer guy coming in, but I can see this guy with the skills that he's got winding up on the field and really showing out. And I think long term, I think we're going to be very pleased to have this guy as a tight end, and he's probably going to become an important part of our offense over time. Now, this last guy that I think is possibly going to break out next year, and a lot of that has to do with the quarterback position, is this fella. This could be the breakout star of the team. It's just really hard to say right now. There are so many ifs about whether or not he's going to see the field, and pretty much everything has to do with this guy. If Joe shows out in the Clemson game tomorrow night, it's going to be a lot more cloudy whether or not Nico becomes any kind of a big star next year, because I just don't know if he's going to see the field very much. It really depends on the game tomorrow. If Joe has a poor game tomorrow, there's going to be tons of pressure to get Nico ready, or Tavon Jackson, who could also be a breakout star. You really don't know until you get further down the line. But Nico has everything you could ever want in a quarterback, and at some point he's going to see the field, whether it's as a backup or as a starter. I don't see him not seeing the field in some sort of relevant way in 2023, and maybe in a significant way. We just don't know until we get further down the line, and tomorrow's going to tell us a lot. Now, as far as the transfers are concerned, I think we're definitely going to see a lot of Keenan Peely. I think this dude is going to play for us right away as a linebacker, and he's got leadership skills. He's 235 pounds, got good speed. I see him playing right away. We are probably going to see Andrej Karic. This guy is a 4-star offensive tackle. We have need for an offensive tackle. He's got some maturity about him now. We're certainly going to see our kicker, Charles Campbell. He kicks about 70% on field goals and 100% on extra points, so I certainly think he'll play. And this guy, McCollin Castles, who is out of UC Davis, he runs a 4.68 40. He's a big dude, almost 250 pounds. And he's 6'5", so I definitely think we're going to see him. And he does have NFL scouts very interested in him. They're talking 3rd and 4th round for this guy. Now, I understand there are plenty of other players that are going to break out next year. Now, this was just the recruits and the transfers. When it comes to who's going to be the next Jalen Hyatt, that might be Brew McCoy. There's a lot of guys that are going to pop up and become great players that are going to work really hard in the offseason like Jalen did and really produce next year. But this was strictly going over the recruits and the transfers. And you tell me, go in the comment section if you think I've missed on this and you think there's somebody else that's going to, show out. That's fine, and I hope that happens. I'm sure it will. There's probably 2 or 3 guys I didn't list there that are going to wind up being great. And I just missed them. But, most of them I think are going to need that extra year before they can really start showing those skills. But you never know. 9 months is a long time for an athlete. They can really improve dramatically during this time. A lot of them are still growing. And when they get all that weight training that the Vols are going to put them through and they get them into the nutrition program, you just don't know. But anyway, those are my best guesses based on covering these guys. And I've watched their highlights, and I've been covering them for months. And I think those guys show the highest end, but, we'll see. And I understand I left out a bunch of great players like Chandavian Bradley, Caleb Herring. I just think those guys need more size. That's all it is. I think they're going to be great, in my opinion. They just need some more size, and there's some other guys just like that. They just need more size, and they need to build up because they're going into the SEC. And the guys that I've listed there, I think, are big enough and strong enough to play the positions they're in, 9 months from now. And believe me, I hope Chandavian and Caleb and all those other guys prove me 100% wrong, and they're ready to go day one. That would suit me just fine. All right, folks, I just wanted to take a few minutes here and talk about next year, the players that I think will break out. And I know we got a huge game tomorrow at 8 o'clock with Clemson. I'm obviously most interested to see how Joe Milton plays, how Klubnik plays for Clemson. I think it's going to be a bit of a shootout. We'll see how that goes. I'll probably cover that in the next video. I may launch that tomorrow morning or something, or in the afternoon. But anyway, if you like this content, be sure to hit that like button. Lets me know to continue to cover the Vols, recruiting, and all the other stuff. And if you haven't subscribed, it's right here on my left. Hit that button right there, and YouTube will send you my videos. It'll just make it a lot easier for you to find them. You don't have to hunt them. And also YouTube right over here on my right puts a video they think you'll like based on your viewing habits, etc. And they're pretty good at that. So check out that video. And we'll see you next time on Sports Talk Jay.
You're still here? It's over. Go home.